welcome you this evening to our political forum. We want to, first of all, ask Dr. Reese to come up and give you a welcome. Oh, would you all applaud him as he comes?
Killing me. You're killing me. You're killing me here. No, good evening, everyone. And again, let me express my appreciation to the NAACP, AKA sorority, and certainly to each and every one of you. The saying goes that all politics is local. And this is a good example about the importance of how we get to determine different aspects of the sort of community that we have. So ahead of time, I want to congratulate all of the candidates, wishing you well, asking all that who are tuning in and listening to be sure that they're registered to vote and engage and ready to go. And as always, we are hosting the event, so we don't endorse or support any position. So views of the candidates are theirs and not necessarily reflective of WKCTC. So with that, I will yield the microphone, let the games begin.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. And I just want to reiterate what he said. Welcome to the candidates. We appreciate you for coming out, and we appreciate you not only for coming out, but for stepping up to become people who you are concerned enough about this community that you decided to give your time, your talent to this community. So, and when I say the community, I don't mean one part of the city, I mean the whole city and the whole county. So we want you to know that we support you in coming out, and we hope that we can learn from you a reason why we need to vote for you. And we also want to thank all those who are just here to observe, participate, and are curious enough to want to know about the people who are running for our office. All right, so at this time, I'm going to give you the rules of the game, okay? Candidates, where are the candidates? Every candidate, y'all scattered all over the place. I would like it if somehow they could be kind of somewhere together. You all do get along, don't you? Oh, okay. So you prefer to sit anywhere, huh? And everywhere. All right. It works for you, it worked for me. But anyhow, here are the rules. Candidates who are running unopposed will be given 90 seconds to speak. Contested races will be given 3 minutes each. There will be a timer, and when it's 3 minutes, 30 seconds, left, he's going to wave that red flag. Somebody will raise the red flag. And then after your time, when it's time, there will be a bell that lets you know you got to stop. Okay? Everybody understand that rule? Okay. Civility is expected. Otherwise, your time will be cut short. Candidates will speak in order of their ballot listing. And let me go back up to number 3. As an old school teacher, you got to make sure everybody understands what you're talking about. So you said civility. What do you mean by that? Well, just be kind to each other. And, it's not a dog eat dog or anything like that. It's may the best man win, okay? Candidates will speak in order of their ballot listing. And the NAACP is a nonpartisan organization, so is Alpha Kappa Alpha. We encourage citizens to vote, but we are not endorsing any candidate. All right, are you ready? On our first call, it's our county judge executives, 3 minutes each. We have 2 candidates. Our first candidate is Craig Clymer. Mr. Clymer.
Well, thank you, NAACP and WKCTC for providing this forum. It's incredibly important that voters have an opportunity to hear from their prospective leaders, and by doing so intelligently, make an informed choice. And so how do you make an informed choice, especially in local elections? Well, first, it's important to understand that in local government, we really don't operate around partisan politics. We hire, we engage, we seek out the best person, the best and brightest for a particular job, regardless of what party they belong to. And I suggest that you would do the same in this election. Don't vote for me because I'm a Republican, and don't vote against me because I'm not a Democrat. Vote for me if you believe I'll do the best job. You have two choices, me or my opponent, so why am I a better candidate than my opponent? First of all, experience. I've done this job for nearly 4 years. It's been such an honor, such a blessing to do the job, to be elected to lead this county of our home. In my 4 years so far, I've put together an outstanding team of professionals. I took office when the county was in desperate financial condition, on the verge of insolvency even, and now we're recovering from the decade of deficit spending, and we're in a stronger position financially, and we're moving forward. I've learned the ropes, I know the laws, I know the rules, I know the local, state, and federal players, and have great working relationships with all of them, with Mitch McConnell, with Jamie Comer, with Rand Paul, and just as I do with the Democrat candidates, Governor Beshear, and the cabinet secretaries and commissioners in the Democratic Party in Kentucky. A second thing, education in relevant fields is an essential attribute, not just for the obvious reason that you need to know a lot about government and law. Education at our higher levels also gives you some credibility. When I meet with other professionals and they know that I have a law degree, they know that I served as a state judge for 23 years, that I studied public administration at the master's degree level and economics in a top school, that gives me an edge. But don't judge me just by what I say. Look at what I've done, along with my team. Improved county financial status from poor to stable, kept taxes low, strengthened Sheriff's Department, steady increase in economic development, city-county 911 system, merger of Paducah Water and McCracken Water, new Barkley Airport Terminal, Carson Park upgrades, city-county collaboration, solar farms, improving race relations, and a strong professional team. I love this job. I appreciate you allowing me to continue on, and we'll move our home county forward for our and our children's and grandchildren's future. Thank you very much.
Next is Mr. Gary Vanderbilt. Bo. Mr. Vanderbilt.
Well, I thank Craig for bringing up the fact that we're here for the community, and the community is what it's all about. We're not supposed to be Republican or Democrat. We're supposed to be doing what's right for the community. And when we do what's right for the community, the first thing all of you all need to remember is we're nuclear workers. I brought this up before. But before I talk about the nuclear workers, let's talk about all the things that people are watching right now. They need jobs. And we need DOE to bring those jobs here. Stop playing the games. We have commissioners in the audience. Those commissioners knew that DOE was responsible for paying millions and millions of dollars of everything that's gone wrong in Paducah. We've given Sandra Wilson the evidence. We went before the city commission. There's people in this audience that I'm going to address when that red flag comes up. I want them all to stand up. But what we have to look at, we've got people that are calling me regarding items such as the dog issues, whatever that's going to be. Maybe Craig would like to share that with me sometime. Well, we got to stop DOE from turning around and ignoring the workers that were poisoned at the plant. And there's Buzz Smith. He was actually the city commissioner when I brought some of this forward. at the request of Van Newberry, who no longer is with us. I hope I can at least get through this without any threat. But that's something else somebody else is gonna have to determine. So we've got lots of jobs we need. We're gonna let Mitch McConnell and anybody else wanna join that. We've got industry that is not coming in, and they know something that you all don't know, but we know. In my hand right here is the document that Mr. Smith will never want anybody to see, but we got it. Plutonium all over the plant, all over the community. Now, how in the world can we justify that? Well, we can't, and you don't need to be a Republican. You need to be somebody that's a Democrat in this case, and I will bring Craig in, and his mother and dad got paid, my mother and dad got paid, and we need to pay everybody. We've got 15,000 claimants that were illegally denied, and every Republican likes it, but not me. And I don't care, even Andy Beshear said it was wrong, and Andy will agree. Bill Bartleman reported on it forever, and he's not willing to. Is there anybody in this crowd that would, Evelyn, you all stand up. You all are nuclear. Anybody in this crowd, would you raise your hand if you're against the nuclear workers? Would you raise your hand? No, I said against, Evelyn. You're getting it wrong. Against. Sorry, she has a hearing problem. Evelyn Jeffers went down to that city commission 10 years ago, and Carol Galt promised her to pay her and have a session, or her husband's claim is 100%, and they denied the claim. So if everybody in this room wants the truth, and there's Judge back here, I've got limestone quarry here, we own 1 billion tons of limestone all of a sudden, and we're gonna get that money back. Thank you. And there's the photograph that proves it. How's that? We don't need grudges denying our claims and our quarry. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. That's mine.
Oh, that's yours. You need that.
I told you who Dr. Reese was. I've introduced the candidates. I didn't tell you who I was, but I'm Shirley Massey. I'm a retired educator here in the city. Somebody asked, when I told them my name was Shirley Massey, they said, "Oh, you Tom's wife?" or something to that effect. Tom's been dead since 1995, but I'm still his wife. So anyhow, I just wanted you to know that that's who I am. I'm Shirley Massey. And if I ever run for office, I'm going to run as Tom Massey's wife. All right? But anyhow, our next candidates are those who are running for the McCracken County Commission. And one thing I hope that you all do is you tell what give us your platform. Also, tell us what it is you're supposed to be doing. Because there's a lot of things, for instance, the county judge executive, people and our young voters who are just coming out, they have no clue what you're talking about. So we need to educate, and there's some of us in here that also need to be educated on what it is you're supposed to be doing so that we can vote for the most qualified person. Because we all know that politics is popularity. You know that. Politics is all about visibility, who you are. But we want to know also what you can do, okay? So if this time we'll have Bill Bartleman, and he has 90 seconds to speak.
I can't say my name in 90 seconds. I, like others, want to thank the NAACP. What do we do as a fiscal court? We set policy. And what are we accomplishing? The judge has that listed down here. That's the things we've done. Eddie Jones recently had an ad in the newspaper where he said, government is a team sport, and that's what we are, a team sport. We're not a tennis match where one person decides what happens. We're a baseball team where we all work together to decide what happens. We have power hitters, we have power pitchers. You can have a baseball team, you can have somebody that hit 100 home runs a year, but you're not going to win unless you have a team to back them up. And that's what we have with the fiscal court now, and we need to keep the team together. Right now, we're in the playoffs. I'm a Philadelphia Phillies fan. They beat St. Louis. I apologize, but I've been a Phillies fan, have something to cheer about, but we're in the playoffs. The fiscal court is in the playoffs. We're working on all these issues. Some of them we've already accomplished. There's others that we still have a lot of work to do, but we need to keep this team together. We need to keep the judge in office. We need to keep Eddie Jones in office. It's really worked well together. We've all worked well together. We haven't always agreed on things. We debate things. We get cussed at one another occasionally, but we get things done. We've gotten things done, and we're still working hard for the people of McCracken County. The big thing we're doing, the sports complex, that's a big thing. 911, they're two of the biggest things. I'm going to hand out my last comment. It'll be about Eddie Jones. We wouldn't even be talking about the sports complex if Eddie Jones had not researched the law and found a way we could raise funds to pay for it. Because I have a grandson that's 28 years old who played travel baseball. We talked about having a facility here, 20 years ago, and now we're going to have one. I want to credit Eddie with that, and I want to endorse him for re-election, endorse the judge. We need to keep our team together.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Next, we have Eddie Jones.
Thank you, Shirley. Thank you for being here tonight. So my name is Eddie Jones. I'm running for county commissioner. That's essentially, I would sit on the equivalent of the board of directors for our county government. Everybody in the city votes for county commissioners, all of us. Everybody in the county votes for county commissioners. So there's 65,000 people in the county. We all pick all three commissioners. A little bit about me. I graduated a degree in public administration. I too studied at the master's level of public administration. I have a law degree from the University of Kentucky. I served in the United States Army for 4 years as a captain in the JAG Corps with service in the 2nd Infantry Division, which at that time was in the DMZ in Korea. And then I served 3 years with the 101st Airborne Division. I've been an attorney in Paducah in Western Kentucky for 30-some years. I've been a county commissioner the last 4. I'm married to a great lady from Reedland, Kentucky. Between the two of us, we have 2 kids. One is in Murray State University as a junior, and the other is at Clark Elementary. So, in the last 4 years, your county commission or your fiscal court, what's been accomplished? What's been the fruit? I can tell you that in April, we will open the doors to a $42 million airport terminal that began 4 years ago with the work of Judge Clymer and myself at PACRO, getting the first $80,000 grant for the design. We got that grant. We found the money. We'll borrow the last of it in a week to open those doors. We've created a Sports Tourism Commission, which created another $1 million of revenue that you're not paying, but people who visit us pay. Judge Clymer, found the perfect 60 acres, Bluegrass Downs. We've secured that. We've secured the federal grant to build the sports park. We partner with the city to get it built. We'll turn ground, we'll turn dirt. We'll start building that in next summer. Economic development. Have you waved that flag yet? Okay. In economic development, we have added 500 jobs in the last 4 years. And if you think back 4 years ago, anybody who stood here 4 years ago could not say that. In fact, the answer 4 years ago was 0. We've added 500 jobs. We have doubled the size of the triple rail site, the mega site. You may ask, well, what is that? Well, it's at the intersection of the Ohio River and the train bridge. It was about 325 acres. It's now over 800 acres. We've doubled the size. More good news will follow because we've done that. We've started searching and recruited software tech jobs. We've added 5 new companies through Sprocket, 4 of which are minority owned. 4 years ago, I said, Coach, put me in the game. I'm ready to play. I'm now asking you to keep me on the team. We're winning. We're scoring points. Thank you.
Next is Yolanda Johnson.
I want to thank the NAACP for hosting this event and allowing us to come and speak to everyone. My name is Yolanda Johnson. I'm running for McCracken County Commissioner. A little bit about me. I am an Air Force veteran, served 6 years in the Air Force. I was a probation and parole officer, worked for the Department of Corrections for the last 6, 7, 8 years. And now I want to serve the people of McCracken County. Now I want to disrupt Jeb. I guess it's not Jeb anymore. We lost one, didn't we? So we're going to lose another one, hopefully, if you vote for me. What do I believe that are the top two priorities of the fiscal court? So my concern is population growth and retention. Unfortunately, we see many adults leave McCracken County after graduating high school or college to pursue jobs and entrepreneurial opportunities in other cities and other states. It would better serve the community if our local government created an environment that allowed them to stay. In doing so, we must address barriers to help remove them. We must address barriers and help remove them, That is why it's vital to invest in developing a workforce which allows for businesses to pay a comfortable living wage to open in McCracken County. A skilled workforce is one of the most important elements to attracting a high-paying industry. It is also important to invest in our entrepreneurs by providing resources to assist with startup costs, making small business ownership not just a dream, but a reality. By creating a community culture that is inviting to diverse groups of people will, in my opinion, build a stronger McCracken County. It is, in my opinion, why am I the best candidate for county commissioner? It is my opinion that taxpayers have been conditioned to believe that we are to pay taxes and have no return on that investment. We have been told that these positions of power belong to politicians. However, these positions were created to serve the public. As county commissioner, I will ensure that narrative changes. I'm the candidate who will bring the meaning of public service back to local government. I will work tirelessly to create a government that works for all citizens, not just a few. Why am I the best candidate for county commissioner? Because it is beyond time for a new voice and a new vision for McCracken County. Thank you.
Please silence your phones. I think mine went off back there, and somebody's did over there. It sounded like mine. But everybody else, please silence your phone, please. We have next our Paducah City Commission candidates. First is Sandra Wilson.
Well, good evening, everyone, and thank you to the NAACP and your sorority for putting this on. I've had the honor of serving as a Paducah City Commissioner for the past 10 years, and 6 of those years as Mayor Pro Tem. That time of service brings experience with it. I've served under 3 mayors and 5 commissioners. I have a thorough understanding of what can and can't be done, and experience matters. We make decisions that impact the city. Now is an exciting time to live and work in Paducah and McCracken County. Many positive things are happening in our community, and you've been hearing about them. And our City Commission has been a part of that. We have seen a growth in population of over 2,000 just in the city of Paducah. We are seeing people who want to move to Paducah and live here and raise their families. And we need strong, visionary leadership in our city's governing body. You deserve that, and our city deserves that, and I'm proud to be a part of that. And that's why I'm running again for City Commissioner. In our community, and a big part of it within the city limits, we have either underway or beginning soon over $100 million in capital investment. Think back. Can you think of a time in the recent history or even in your lifetime when we've had that much going on at one time? And this is not just one economic development project. This is community-wide investment that you're seeing for infrastructure, quality of life, housing, tourism, and including in downtown, the heart of our city. You're about to see a lot of change and growth and capital investment in the heart of our downtown. And while there will be some temporary challenges associated with that, please keep in mind that combined with the build grant for the riverfront development, there will be over $34 million in public-private capital investment coming to our downtown. And that doesn't even include all of the new growth coming from our local developers who are opening businesses and providing upper living spaces for living, which will push it up even more. We're also focused on our south side and are very excited about the rehabilitation of the Jeton building for new housing and a new home for the Paducah Symphony. Right next door, we're partnering with Paducah Public Schools for infrastructure for sports. And have you taken a look lately around Brooks Stadium to see all of the infrastructure work in that part of town? And we have many key historical and cultural resources in our community that we need to ensure are supported and protected. And the city has recently hired the Rhodes Heritage Group to assist us in that and to make sure that Stuart Nelson continues to be honored as we move forward with the sportsplex. And on top of all of that, our city government was just named the best city government in the state of Kentucky. That should tell you a lot about who we are, what we're doing, and that experience matters. And I personally have a track record of delivering success in many areas, ranging from jobs to education to quality of life. So thank you for your past support, and I would really appreciate your support again on November 8th.
Thank you. Now we will hear from DeJuan Thomas.
Thank you for the opportunity. I'm grateful to be here to speak before all of you. I'm DeJuan Thomas. I'm running for Paducah City Commission. I'm a graduate of Paducah Tillman High School and the University of Louisville, and I'm also certified in law and justice and contract law from Harvard X, which is our online learning program. I'm a member of the Paducah Diversity Advocacy Board and the Hands of Hope nonprofit. I'm a businessman, I'm a leader, I'm a soldier, and I'm a scholar. And growing up on the north side, I was raised by my grandmother, and I saw firsthand what it's like for the city to turn a blind eye. The road in front of my childhood home sat cracked, with several of the sidewalks having grass and roots growing up through them. Even today, the city has allowed vacant buildings to linger, with one having barbed wire hanging over the same sidewalk children walk to catch the bus. I was one of those children. This is just one reason I decided to run, because I've seen firsthand what it's like not to have true representation. And several of the citizens I've met over the past few months have shared with me similar stories, such as those whose yards and roadways flood when it rains too much, and the fact they've asked the city to help them, and the city told them to clean the drains themselves. You heard that right. Paducah, I'm ready to be a voice for change, and I can promise you I will hold those elected next to me accountable, as you hold me accountable. We lack transparency in our local government, and it takes more than just listening and boasting about past accomplishments. It's going to take action and hands-on work. And not just a part-time job. This should be a full-time job, and I'm gonna make sure I work it as a full-time job. And I was asked why I'm the best fit for the job, and being the only candidate that has served in our nation's armed forces to my knowledge, I believe that holds merit. My advanced training in leadership, logistics, as well as having the Army values instilled in me, which are loyalty, duty, respect, honor, integrity, and personal courage. These are traits anybody wanted to be a leader should possess. And not only that, I believe I'm the only candidate with studies in law, which should be a requirement for anybody wanting to be a local legislator. And most importantly, I'm the only candidate, or one of the only candidates, that's talking about real issues and that has a set list of priorities. And here are some of my priorities. Because our problems have a common sense solution, such as our flooding issue, I want to implement hydroelectricity reservoirs, working with our local unions and engineers to use that problem as a solution. And also, Paducah has been behind on technological advances. It's 2022, and we just now got an app to report problems to the city. We're always behind, and I want to make sure we get above that curve, especially with renewable energy infrastructure, implementing that into city buildings first. And there's federal grants for things like that as well. I also want to bring more activities for our youth because they're the future of Paducah. And new playgrounds are nice, but we need more help, such as things that can help them achieve a prosperous future, such as internship, mentorships, and funding for local organizations that are focused on that. And of course, we need to support our veterans, especially those that are facing homelessness, which starts with affordable housing and more warming shelters, as well as access to resources that can help them get back on their feet. And we need to fix our roads and sidewalks in our south side as well, and that's one of my priorities. And for the rest of my priorities, you can find them on DeJuanThomas.com or Facebook, Thomas for Paducah. Again, I'm DeJuan Thomas. I humbly ask for your vote this November. I'm ready to serve you, Paducah. Thank you.
We have next Mike Reed.
All right. Starting. Thank you, NAACP, for offering this opportunity for me to bring a new paradigm to Paducah. My name's Mike Reed, candidate for Paducah City Commission. Good evening. I introduce my platform with this quote. Apostle Paul wrote to his dear friend, O Timothy, keep my instruction which is committed to thy trust, avoiding profane and vain babblings, and the oppositions of science falsely so called, which some professing have erred concerning the faith. I suggest today Paducah has erred from the faith of our fathers by turning to science falsely so called. We've left our first love with the God of our heritage by embracing the science of Darwin's origin fables, rejecting Scripture, the science of Karl Marx's class envy, making a god of the state, the science of Kinsey's lies, opening doors to sexually pervert our children, the science of Margaret Sanger's Planned Parenthood for infanticide, and the science of critical race theory, seeking justice by organized racial revenge. For remedy, I intend to bring the presence, the love, and the fear of God back to our local government in ways deeper than just an opening invocation. We need real public dialogue, giving time to opposing points of view, favoring those that accord with God's revealed commands. Here, let me commend the current Paducah City Commissioners who seemed willing at last week's meeting to reopen to public input. That's good news. That's good public service. But in the meantime, just how crazy are we getting? I heard this week on TV that some from the climate change religion have proposed that we mount an effort to, no lie, dim the sun. Our good-hearted, simple parents up there must be doubled over with laughter at this generation's experts. Not that the idea is totally without value or the expense would surely prove to be prohibitively astronomical. It's just that they themselves held the perfect tool that we have since chucked in the junk pile. They walked, talked, listened to, and trusted in the creator of the sun, who placed it in the perfect relation to the earth so that our climate could sustain thriving life on this planet. And they enjoyed friendship with him so that drought or flood or heat waves could be corrected by simple, earnest, consistent prayer to their loving Father. That's what we need to reclaim. I'm assured that he waits patiently to welcome our repentance and return to humble service, so that in the middle of our pain and affliction, we will rediscover our dependency on God and his boundless love for us. Help is on the way. So whoever you elect to govern, demand honor for God and his word to preserve for our kids the life, liberty, and peace that we inherited. Thanks for listening. I'm Mike Reed, and I offer to represent you and Jesus Church on the City Commission.
I want to remind you that we are live streaming on Paducah Channel 2 and Facebook, so, remember that. We also, next on our list is Keisha Curry. Miss Keisha?
Good evening. My name is Keisha Curry, and I want to be your next Paducah City Commissioner. A 13-year resident, I have been proud to call the city of Paducah my home. Relocating here as a single parent brought about its challenges as I was looking for a safe and stable place for my sons growing up. It was here in Paducah I've been blessed to build relationships with this great community that now have me rooted. It is with the support of people like you that have made Paducah truly home. As a servant leader and as a worker by profession, I've accepted my call to serve and to advocate. I'm intentional about meeting the needs of others, and I truly believe everyone deserves fair access to tools and resources that will allow them to be there 100%. In 2018, I saw a need in the city that led me to start an organization called Out Paducah, providing support and resources for LGBTQIA youth. I'm a member of various committees and organizations, such as our local Oscar Cross Boys and Girls Club, the Kentucky Health Equity Diversity Technical Advisory Committee, the Kentucky Voices for Health, Health Justice Advocate Committee, and a proud member of the Paducah Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, where our basic principles is public service. I was appointed by the governor to the Kentucky Traumatic Brain Injury Trust Fund Board, as well as the Health Disparity and Equity Technical Advisory Committee. Today, I'm running for Paducah City Commissioner because I believe as a Paducah grows forward, progresses forward, so should our city government. Our representation should reflect the diversity within our communities. And it is time for a new voice to take a seat at the table. And when we speak of change, we need to have those most affected by policies at the table to ensure they are respected and heard. By electing me as your next city commissioner, I will amplify your voices by listening, being receptive, and relating to what you value, addressing issues that are important to you. Two of my priorities would be an economic development plan that includes budgeting, planning decisions for equitable distribution of city resources, intentionally targeting neighborhoods in which the city has not been historically invested. And last but not least, which is very important to me and very close to my heart, is upgrading of the city's storm drainage system to keep pace of our growing city. Not only is it in my backyard, but it's also in our communities that are well overlooked. And we've got to address the issue of our flooding for those who are desperately being affected. Again, my name is Keisha Curry, and I want to be your next city commissioner. You can find more information about me on curryforpaducah.com. Thank you.
Next is Robert Buzz Smith.
Hello, I am Buzz Smith. I'm running for City Commission. Tell you a little bit about myself. I was born and raised in Paducah. I am a sixth-generation Paducan of Paducah City residents. I live in the city. I've lived in the city my whole life because that's my choice. I like the city and I enjoy it. I have served on the City Commission, or back up a little bit. I presently work for the Department of Energy. I'm a strategic planner for the Department of Energy. Prior to that, I was a sales manager for U.S. Food Service. And my term with U.S. Food Service, I managed a sales budget, triple the city's annual revenue. So I'm a businessman primarily. That's what I'm most proud of, I suppose. I served on City Commission for 12 years, and 4 of those years I was Mayor Pro Tem. I've been off the City Commission for 14 years, and when I was on it, I think a lot of our growth today is a result of a lot of the investments that we did, a lot of the work that we did in previous years during my term, which I was heavily involved with. When I was on the City Commission, I was heavily involved in the formulation and the execution of the Lower Town revitalization, as well as the Fountain Avenue startup. They were 2 separate projects, a lot of different metrics to make each one go. We didn't have a greenway trail. We put in a greenway trail. We didn't have a skate park. We put that in. Disc golf, we did that. We attracted hoopers downtown. That was the genesis of a lot of the businesses relocating back to downtown, apartments coming back, people living downtown, and kind of we made Lower Town a cool place to live again. We made downtown a cool place to live, and people go down there. Downtown's very busy. Go there on a Wednesday night, and they're busy. So I think a lot of that work is because of the work that we did on there. I'm running because I think our 2 priorities, we've got the sewer work that needs to be done. Everyone knows and understands that. But I think one of the things that we are overlooking is that, we've grown, as we mentioned earlier, but we don't have housing stock. And there's not any discussion of housing stock but we need housing stock that people want, that they're not paying $400 a month utilities on because they don't have insulation. We've got to get that going. And South Side is perfect place for that. It's a blank canvas. We've got a lot of empty property there that we can go in, and there's a lot of housing stock that people want. They want patio homes, they want condominiums, they want smaller houses, and it would be beautiful for Paducah to continue our growth. One thing I'd like for you to remember about me is I get stuff done, I know how to get stuff done, and I like to get stuff done. So thank you for your vote.
I'm going to give him time to get up and get ready. It's your time, Reverend Henderson. Reverend Ronaldo Henderson.
Good evening, and thank you to the host of this event. I want you to know that it is indeed a joy and a blessed delight for me to be here tonight, but I have to admit to you that I'm a little conflicted because as I sit here and watch Brother Corbin wave the handkerchief telling us to wind it down, at my church it means wind it up. And so I'm going to try to stay within the time frame that you've given me. My name is Ronaldo Henderson, and I have served, I'm from Chicago, Illinois, and I've served here in Paducah at the Washington Street Church for the last 30 years. What you see me doing every day is not something that I've decided to do because I'm running for re-election. It's because that's who I am. That's what I do every day. I cast vision. I motivate people on a regular basis how to grab and walk into that preferable future. I've served, I'm proven leadership. As I said, I served as the Washington Street Church for the last 30 years, and I have served on the Paducah Housing Authority for 17 years, 16 of those years as the chairman of the board, and I currently serve as the mayor's proxy on the Housing Authority board. I am married, I have been married for 34 years. I have 3 adult children, 1 grandchild. I have a Bachelor's of Arts degree from the Judson College in Elgin, Illinois, and I have a master's degree, a Master's of Divinity, from the Southern Baptist Theological Seminary in Louisville, Kentucky. Let me tell you that I think that all of our priorities are important, every last one of them. But you've asked me to at least give you 2 priorities that we would continue. The first of all is definitely our South Side revitalization. I want you to know that during that period when we were preparing for our meetings, I got out and knocked on doors and encouraged people to come to those meetings because the South Side has been something that I've talked about for the last few years. So that's important. And as it's been mentioned, as a result of, I'm at Washington Street, I'm sorry. But as a result of that, so let me go to the next thing. I think the next thing that's important for us to keep is to work on is our 911. We have worked diligently for our sports complex, and that seems to be something that's going to happen, and we're working to make sure that happens. But at the same time, I don't want us to get too excited, and we miss the opportunity to do what needs to be done for our 911. I want to make sure that we sign that interlocal agreement by the end of the year, and that we're moving forward in that area. Folks, I want to tell you, I went to eat yesterday at Texas Roadhouse, and the waitresses and waiters had their shirts on and just said, "I love my job." And that's kind of what dropped in my spirit. I love my job. I really do love my job. I love the opportunity to serve. I love as the commissioner, and I love the opportunity to serve this community. And I would appreciate your vote on November 8th. Number 7 is the right box to push. Thank you.
Last but not least on our commissioners list is David Guest.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the forum here. And I want to say I'm very humbled to have been on the commission the last 2 years, and I was on the commission 18 years ago for 2 terms. So I've been on 6 years, and we've gotten a lot accomplished. All the other commissioners have mentioned it. Buzz mentioned some of the stuff I think we got started and finished 16 years ago. And just one of the things that came, I'm not big on notes. And first of all, I'll say I'm born and raised in McCracken County. I've been in the city of Paducah for the last 26 years or so. I graduated from Tillman, grew up in Reedland, graduated from Tillman. Went to Murray State after that, and I've been self-employed my whole life. I mean, God created me to be a business person. I crunch numbers. I go down the street. I'm just looking for opportunities, just looking to, one of my mottos is I just want to make tomorrow better than today. And I have 2 adult children. I have a daughter in Bowling Green with my only grandchild. I have a son in Paducah that works for Paducah Fire Department. He's been there 4 years. So we've gotten a lot accomplished. I like what Eddie said, that we're a team. I mean, the county, the cities, the team, and we talk as I was at a meeting with Eddie earlier, and we talk pretty often. I mean, and us as commissioners, we talk, and we don't always maybe agree at the beginning of the meeting, but at the end of the meeting, we do. And that's what I've heard a lot, that we've been united, and I think we have. I mean, I think we're a good team, and I think we've gotten a lot accomplished. We've got a lot of opportunities, and I almost forgot I am married. My wife's my biggest fan. I forget something every time. So I do have kids. I am married, and I have a job. So so this isn't my most comfortable venue, but I humbly ask for your vote on the 8th. Vote 8th on the 8th. Thank you.
Well, we want to thank all the commission candidates for their spiel. And we have our next group of people with the ones that are running for constable. We only have one present here today. So and that's Mr. McCracken, and I'm gonna ask him, he's gotta tell me, what in the world does a constable do?
I'm not sure what I do. I just go to work every day and I get paid. But what I do is I have 18 years in law enforcement. I've been your constable for 12 years. My main job is to go out and serve court papers, subpoenas, summonses, evictions, things that people don't want. But I'm the one that brings it to them. Things I don't do: I don't drive a police car. I don't arrest people. I don't go up and down the street with blue lights trying to give tickets. That's something I don't do. I focus on nothing but serving papers for the court system. I've been in law enforcement for 18 years, and I've been your constable for 12 years. I'm married to Sarah Hayden for 26 years, and I got 2 daughters. One is a psychologist at Four Rivers here in Paducah, and my other daughter is at Spalding University in Louisville as a math teacher. So I do ask y'all, as a full-time constable, I appreciate if you support me November 8th. Thank you.
Well, I'm really glad to know. Now I know who evicts and who do all kinds of mean things. All right, now we have the list of our circuit judge candidates. First, we have Charles Chuck Walters.
Thank you, Ms. Massey. Appreciate it very much. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks to WKCTC, thanks to the NAACP, and thanks to Alpha Kappa Alpha. Audrey, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Your sorority colors are beautiful. They're wonderful. So, I want to take a little different approach because I've spent the last few months telling everybody about my family, who I am, and about my background. Let's take a little different approach. I am a prosecutor. I am running for circuit judge. What are the issues that concern a judge? I think my opponent and I have some common ground on that. One big issue is safety, consistency, and dependability. People need to have at least one government institution that they can trust. Trust for safety and for continuity and normalcy in the community. As a judge, I'll continue what I've done as a prosecutor as far as safety is concerned. In the last year and a half, I've probably participated in 11 or so felony trials. Rapes, murders, nasty stuff. And along with my friends James Mills, Nick Jones, Guthrie Allen, I've probably gotten 200 years of conviction time in those. That's safety. That's consistency. That's something the community can depend on. Outside of that, in my plea bargaining, hundreds of years of jail time for traffickers, people who bring poison into our system. Court is the end of the line and is where reckoning takes place. In the hour before this afternoon's forum, I was at a local doctor's office. Nick Jones and I have a trial on Thursday. It's a child abuse case. They're terrible. I was working with a local doctor, two professionals, taking about an hour to make sure that our presentation for trial on Thursday was good, right, and direct. That's what I do. That's what I enjoy. And that work ethic and that concern for law and safety and consistency will carry on into my judgeship. Very quickly, another thing is integrity. I became a public defender late in life. I represented all sorts of people, brown, black, white. They all shared one thing. They were indigent. That's why they had the DPA. They deserved respect. There's one young man from Cairo that I remember because I went over to Alexander County, to the housing projects, and worked with him. He had been accused wrongly by his girlfriend and was facing probation revocation. I worked with him tirelessly in his home to make sure his probation was not revoked. You have to treat people with dignity and respect. Appreciate your vote on November 8th. Thank you, folks.
Next is Joe Rourke. Is that how you pronounce it? Rourke.
It's Rourke. And my name is Joe Rourke. I'm a candidate for circuit court judge, and I appreciate the difficulty of that. When I was a little boy, I had a speech impediment and I couldn't say ours, which makes having the last name Rourke a very difficult situation. But with a lot of hard work, I got to the point where I can kind of mumble it out close enough that people can figure out what I'm saying. And so thank you for the opportunity to speak here tonight. Thank you to WKCTC, thank you to AKA, and thank you especially to NAACP for putting on this forum. Again, for the second time this election cycle, we were able to speak here before in the primary. It was a delight to speak with you then, and it's a delight to speak with you now. So thank you for that opportunity. We were asked to describe kind of what the circuit court does, and it may sound odd to say this, but as a 47-year-old adult male, I can tell you that my favorite Disney movie is The Little Mermaid. And in The Little Mermaid, Sebastian the Crab says to Ariel, listen to me, the human world, it's a mess. And the circuit court is one of the vehicles that we have created to deal with the mess that is the human world. It is the circuit court in which you find felony criminal charges, and it is in the circuit court that you will address issues related to large civil suits where people have gotten into a dispute and they can't get out of it. They can't resolve it on their own, and so they've resolved to have the matter resolved by court. And it is a tone-setting institution in our community. It matters how the circuit court is handled because it determines if this is a place where people want to live. You know, its primary objective is to make sure there is public safety, because we do not live in a community where anybody's going to want to stay if it's not safe. And happily, with the work of law enforcement, with the work of others in the community, it is safe so far, and I'd like to continue that role. And so that's essentially what the circuit court does. And if you'd like to know maybe why should you vote for me, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. Before I was an attorney, and I've been a practicing attorney for over 14 years, I was a school teacher. And before that, I worked in nonprofits and the private sector before that. So I have a breadth of experience that kind of tells me how human life works. And that's what comes before the circuit court is people. We're in the people business in the court system, and everyone who appears before you is a person, and the issue that brings them there to that court date is the most important thing that's going on in their life. And even though they may not like the outcome, it's important that they are treated with dignity. They are treated with respect. They are not treated as a number on a docket that has to be cleared out and moved out of the way so we can get on to the next one. Again, that's not to say that they'll necessarily like the outcome, but what I can assure you is that regardless of how much money you have, how little money you have, what your name is, where you come from, where you live, if you appear in circuit court before me, you will be treated fairly, you will be treated with dignity, and you will be treated with respect, and the system that is put in place will be used to encourage economic development in our community and to promote public safety. Thank you very much for the time to speak here tonight, and I wish you well and ask for your vote on November 8th. Thank you.
Now we're with our district judge, 2nd Judicial District. We have one candidate, Jamie Mills.
My name is James Mills. I'm running for District Court Judge, McCracken County Division 2. I'm the first Assistant Commonwealth's Attorney here in McCracken County. Before that, I was the first Assistant County Attorney here in McCracken County, and I was a public defender as well. And I'm running for District Court Judge because we need a new District Court Judge, not just because I really want to be a judge. It isn't just about my own ambition. It's about a need in this community. And I'm not the only one that believes that. The current district judge, my opponent, Judge Hollowell, his peers believe so too. According to the Kentucky Bar Association, who does a judicial review every year, they say that in their survey, almost 52% of his peers say that he doesn't conduct court courteously. Almost 60% rate his demeanor as fair or poor. 55% say that he doesn't treat defendants with dignity. And 44% say he isn't devoting enough time to his job. Now compare that, if you're aware of those surveys, to the other 4 judges in this county, and what you'll notice is that their scores are all exemplary. It is no mistake and no accident that he had 3 primary challengers this year, and none of the other judges have any. In particular, if this is what his peers think of the job he's doing, you can imagine what an everyday citizen thinks that goes to his court. And district court isn't just where criminals go that deserve to be treated badly. District court is where everyday people tend to go to court. It's where estates get handled, small claims, traffic tickets, everyday people, and they deserve to be treated with dignity and courtesy by the court that they pay. But the thing that really sticks out to me is the unacceptability of how much time at work Judge Hollowell spends. Important business happens at the courthouse, not just when court is going on. Police officers need search warrants. They need to be able to find a judge. Families have crises, and they need orders that need to be signed. And that's not going on. Now, my opponent is going to attack me by saying I'm soft on crime, but let's look at my record. I've gotten over 100 years of prison time for child molesters in the Commonwealth's Attorney's Office in the midst of COVID. I've won many, many jury trials. And if you think I'm soft on crime, that would be news to the killers of Justice Hicks and Victor Moore, who one got 25 years at a jury trial I recently had, and the other one got life in prison without parole. Those are real people. When it matters, I'm very tough on crime. Thank you. Vote Mills for McCracken on November 8th. We need it.
We next have our Paducah Independent School Board, Mary Hunter Hancock. I'm sorry? Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Come on, Judge.
I want to thank the NAACP and WKCTC for having us here tonight. I want to talk a little bit about some of the different things that we do in district court. Like Mr. Henderson, I've had the pleasure of speaking at Washington Street Baptist Church, just not as well as he does, but I appreciate being able to follow him up here. And one of the things that we do in district court, and I served as a volunteer special circuit court judge for drug court, is put people in a program whereby they, hopefully by the time that we get to the end of the program, they no longer come back into the court system. And for the 3 years that I ran the program, there was not a single person who graduated who was rearrested. Now that's one program that we can do. The other program that Mr. Mills has overseen is it's basically a deferred prosecution. They call it the rocket docket. And it's where they guarantee probation to people who come into court because they don't want to take the time that it takes to prosecute those people. He's recommended people for that program who are drug traffickers, drug manufacturers, and I had a guy last week who had 5 pending felony charges that he recommended for that program. I don't think that that's public safety. I don't think that that's what keeps our community safe. But this drug court program, if it were utilized more, would be something that would lower the recidivism rate here in McCracken County. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is it's just we have a differing philosophy. And my philosophy is that my number one job as a district court judge is to try and make sure that people do not come back into the court system. And while if you look statistically at what's happened over the course of the 16 years that I've been a district court judge, I was an assistant Commonwealth attorney for 9 years, consistently, year after year, the number of people who appear in district court on criminal cases, DUI cases, juvenile cases has gone down and down and down. You look at felony court, it's gone up and up and up and up during the time that Mr. Mills has been there. And I don't think that's a coincidence. I appreciate your time. I would appreciate your vote. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry I overlooked you. I didn't have my glasses on. All right, now we're ready for the Paducah Independent School Board candidates, and we have only one. I don't see Dr. Koji in here. So that's Miss Mary Hunter Hancock. Is she here? Well, I guess not. So I guess we have no Board of Education candidates present. We'll move on to the McCracken County School Board, and that is Ms. Sheila Johnston.
Thank you so much for including the school board members in this forum. Thank you. Just a little bit nervous, but I want to tell you a little bit about myself. And I think when I tell you about myself, you'll know why that I am running for school board in McCracken County. I've done this all my life. I have a deep love for education, and I've always wanted to spend my time doing education-related jobs. I started out teaching school at Farley Elementary. From Farley Elementary, I went to Concord Elementary and spent several years there. From there, I was fortunate enough to start working with gifted students, and I taught in all the schools in McCracken County, all the elementary schools in McCracken County. And actually, my opponent, Jennifer Beyer, was one of my dear, bright students. So Jennifer and I have a love for education. After leaving McCracken County, I went to Western Kentucky University and worked in the Center for Gifted Studies as a coordinator for a Javits grant for gifted middle school students. From there, I was the executive director for the Kentucky Association for Gifted. And from there, I went with the Pritchard Committee for Academic Excellence. And that is where I spent most of my time working with parents as they worked with their students to provide great education opportunities for their own students. Here in Paducah, I serve on several boards. I'm on McCracken County Humane Society as a vice president. I've served my church in different ways. I've been on the task force for Kentucky Advisory Council for Gifted and Talented Education. I'm a graduate of Mayfield High School, Murray State University with a BS and a master's degree, and a rank 1 from Western Kentucky University. What do I do? Why do I want this job? I love education. My top priorities would be, as a school board member, would be to work hard to ensure that the teachers and the schools have the tools that they need, and our parents have the opportunity to become meaningfully engaged. If you have a parent, a student that does not have a parent, or an advocate that's engaged in their education, it is not likely that that child will ever be successful. Parents matter. I want our students to achieve academic success, reach their personal goals in a safe environment. I want them to be socially confident and emotionally healthy. And I will do everything in my power as a school board member to see that those opportunities provided for children to have those opportunities. Thank you very much.
I think Ms. Jennifer Beyer, are you okay? Thank you. Would you come forward?
From student to teacher and learner again, Ms. Johnson and I are running in District 4 of McCracken County for the school board. I was appointed to the school board in March to fill a vacancy. And since I have been learning on my feet, I have gained 18 hours of training from the Kentucky School Board Association since only March of this year. And you need to have 12 within each calendar year. So I teach locally with Paducah Public School System. So thank you to NAACP and to Alpha Kappa Alpha. We see your faces in our halls, and you inspire leadership. And so I would say that a priority of mine is to inspire leadership. I'm a single mother. I'm a school teacher. I'm not a business person. I have 2 McCracken County students. Education is my passion. It's what I do every day. I'm in the classroom every day. And then I run at night to meetings so that every child in your county is taken care of. Public education is one of the greatest public services we offer. We raise the children and educate them so they can be part of our community and commit to our community. So I really feel like it is in your best interest to choose number 3 on the ballot for District 4 for McCracken County, and I will continue to excel at being your voice for your children. Thank you very much.
Well, this is all the candidates that I have on my list. But if there are other candidates present who would like to come forward and give us about 90 seconds of their time and attention, we'd be glad to listen to you. Okay. Well, you only have 90 seconds, so that's...
Hey, you're going to stick to that, too. My name's Ryan Norman. I'm currently your McCracken County Sheriff, and I'm running unopposed in November. Thank you, Dr. Reese, WKCTC, NAACP, and AKA for having us here. Just a couple of things that the Sheriff's Office has done just in the past few months. For the first time ever, your Sheriff's Office has a deputy that is trained to investigate animal abuse. The deputy completed her first round of training in the late summer and has been confidently assisting animal control since then. We have also begun the process to certify deputies as hunter education instructors. Our goal in that is to host 1 or 2 hunter education courses throughout the year. We believe that this will be a way for deputies to interact with the community and also to instill gun safety within the community, the people that go there. I'm currently, right now, becoming an instructor in a program to help educate the public and how not to become a victim. The plan behind that is to, if I believe it's a good curriculum, we're going to get more deputies to become instructors. And then we want to host events, 1 a year, 2 a year, depending on who wants to come to it, how many people want to come to it, to try to teach the community how not to become a victim. We have scams all over the place. Facebook only gets to so many people, so we want to assist there. Also, we are having our 5th annual Sheriff's Citizens Academy this year. If you would like to be involved in it next year, we're going to put more information on our website and our Facebook page. That basically is a way for us to get to know the community's concerns, as well as for the community to get to know what your Sheriff's Office does. We've had great success with it. Appreciate everybody that has come to it. Thank you all for your time. Have a good evening.
I didn't realize you were the sheriff. I would have been a little kinder. Now we're going to open up the floor for questions. And, oh, wait a minute. Let me see. Who do we have? All right. Would you come, Ms. Holloway? I'm sorry.
Since I only have 90 seconds, I can either speak less or I can speak fast, and I'm going to choose to speak fast. I'm here to let everyone know that there is still a choice for District 2 state representative. District 2 covers all of Grace County and 8 precincts within McCracken County. Again, my name is Kim Holloway. I am that candidate. I'm running as a write-in candidate after being disqualified from the primary in May due to an errant signature. As a political outsider, I have made a very costly mistake, but I am in this for the long haul and still willing to fight for our constitutional rights in Grace and McCracken County. Most of my postgraduate career has been spent at the Kentucky Department of Juvenile Justice. I'm a professional counselor. I have spent time at the Juvenile Detention Center as their counselor and also within the community. Spent some time working with the boys over at the boys treatment facility as well as probated youth. I've spent the last 7 years at home raising our 3 young children. We are a farming family, and I own and operate a small woodworking business there in Graves County. My husband and I have been married for 8 years. We are a blooded farming family with 9 grandchildren and 5 grandchildren between the 2 of us. I'm running for this position because I have a deep concern for the lack of representation that the community has been receiving. Our Republican supermajority overall has failed Kentuckians. My concerns include the fiscal irresponsibility and corporate interference in policymaking. There is a support of big government and a lack of support for individual liberty. I'm the most qualified candidate for this position because I am committed to providing constitutional representation to Kentuckians. I'm the only candidate who can be trusted to defend our God-given rights and our constitutional rights. I'm committed to being a bold yet compassionate and fiscally conservative voice for my community. As a representative, the first question I will ask myself before sponsoring voting on any piece of legislation will be, is this a constitutional exercise of government? And are the inherent constitutional rights of Kentuckians being represented, respected by my support of it? Did I run out of time already? Okay. I have so much more to say. I welcome any questions. I welcome you to give me a call, send me an email, check out my Facebook page or my website. I try to be very open and transparent. Again, thank you for your time.
Excuse me.
Yes, ma'am.
Since we're opening it up for questions, we'll let you be the first on the
Sure.
answer
Okay.
the question.
What do you raise in a farming family?
In a farming family, children. We raise children and grandchildren. My husband grows corn, wheat, soybeans, and tobacco. Yes, sir. Any other questions? Thank you. I appreciate that. If you do come up with something, you're welcome to contact me at any time. Kim Holloway. And I would serve all of Grace County, the eight districts in McCracken, which would include mostly in the Lone Oak, Hickory, St. John's area. Thank you.
Are you related to Richie?
My last name is Holloway, not Galloway.
Galloway.
But we do attend church right across the street, or live across the street before we get to the church. So, yes, sir.
Okay, I have a question here for the judge executive position, and says, considering that there are several major projects within the city and the county currently underway, what do you believe are the top 2 priorities the city commission, fiscal court, and judge executives should be focused on? You may. 90 seconds, sir.
90 seconds.
Yes.
Well, the number 1 priority of local government, any government really, is to make sure the people are safe. And so we've got to make sure that we have a strong police force, a strong sheriff's department, and we do have. We also currently and will continue to work toward doing a joint 911 emergency communications system for the sheriff and jointly with the city, the police department, because we have a antiquated system. In police work, I was a police officer for 9 years. I have a bachelor's degree in law enforcement. But in police work, you have to have communications, or you don't have the ability to respond and protect the people. The other thing probably right now is I think the sports complex, along with bringing other jobs into the community. But this sports complex, $42 million, is going to bring a tremendous amount of tourism into our community and provide a lot of revenue, as well as our own kids, grandkids, for decades into the future, are going to have a state-of-the-art sports facility to work in.
Okay, since you're standing here, why are you the best candidate for that position?
Well, I've done it for 4 years. My opponent has no experience in local government. I've studied public administration at the master's degree level. I have 10 years in law enforcement experience. I've made, maybe the best thing is that I've made tremendous relationships with both our Republican and Democrat leaders, federal, state, and local. In fact, one of our federal legislatures has donated now $4,000 to my campaign because he knows that I can get the job done. And so, having the experience, having the education, having a law degree, having spent 23 years as a judicial branch judge and working through that, I can look at the things that come before us, and having Eddie Jones as another lawyer on the court is a great asset as well. You have to understand what you're reading, and you have to be able to communicate with people in a precise and a precise way and precise and concise in order to represent the people of the county. You cannot throw around baseless accusations about our local and state and federal leaders and then expect that you go to them and they will help us with projects that we need their help on.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. You gotta answer the question too, huh?
You're gonna give them to me again, I hope, so I get them all right.
Oh, okay. My question was, considering that there are several major projects within the city and the county currently underway, what do you believe are the top 2 priorities for the city commission, fiscal court, judge executive should be focused on?
That's real easy. I worked in the city engineering department. In 1985, we had a massive hurricane remnant came through Paducah that dumped 18 miles of the Ohio River inside the city of Paducah. The water was running out of the flood wall pumps. Still no drainage control. So that's 85. So what has this city commission and county commission done? I haven't heard anybody talk about how the public safety was taken care of. And I want to jump off of that. I'm a nuclear whistleblower. I'm the chairman of the Nuclear Whistleblower Alliance of the United States. I don't take bribes. I don't take any problem. I take the problems and correct them. This is not plutonium. It's limestone from the Three Rivers Rock Quarry. I'm a nuclear whistleblower. I've been in front of the courts and the judges in McCracken County, and I don't like what I see. And I'm getting all kinds of calls from people that says, you need to straighten up the corruption in McCracken County Courthouse. Now, I'm a project engineer for Lockheed Martin. I'm wearing my Lockheed Martin badge. I've got 2 President's Awards at Lockheed Martin. I didn't have to tell anybody. Buzz Smith came out there and beat out. Mr. McConnell put him in that job. And now I'm a Democrat. I'm not changing my party. We're going to stand up and tell the truth, and we're opening the courthouse to everybody that's got a problem. Now, obviously, there's some bad things that are going on because I'm getting them all the time. Our nuclear workers right there. There's a veteran of Iraq War. He was handling beryllium, and they won't pay our black nuclear workers. How outrageous is that? Now, I asked you earlier, how many people are against the nuclear workers? Well, nobody's raising your hand, but you're sure doing it all over Paducah. And Sandra Wilson is here. Sandra Wilson was right there when they came after me. City police came after and assaulted me, and that's not over. She thinks it is, but it's not. So we just need to get Brandy Harless and go back up to Louisville and then make some more deals to take over a property. Right now, the safety and health of this community, we brought in Dr. Clinton Cook. He's Mitch McConnell's best friend. He talked about the plutonium, and there's 300 grams of plutonium at that plant, and they know it. DOE has got to pay their damages. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Is our constable still here, candidate? Okay. How will you, as constable, advance county initiatives for growth and safety?
I guess to answer that question, it'd probably be communication with other departments, as the sheriff's office and the city police, working with them if they need me to come over and help them, support of other departments, and training. First thing we need, constables do carry guns, they do carry badges, they do need the training before they go up there and knock on doors and ask people, or try to serve them papers. that it? That answer?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Well, it's been a good night and a good evening. And so at this time, I just want to thank everybody for coming out, thank the candidates for speaking their piece. They have spoken. So on November 8th, you go speak, okay? And at this time, we are going to present to you Mr. Corbin Snorton, who is he's the vice president of the NAACP, but he was the head honcho in this evening, so thank you.
So, it's nice to not be on the mic the whole time, but let's give Miss Massey a round of applause. She showed up in force, peak, sequin, and all. So give her a hand of applause. But thank you all to all the candidates and everybody that came out tonight. Excuse me. So political advocacy is a very big deal for the NAACP. So we are encouraging everybody to vote, but we also want to make sure that everybody is aware that there are new changes to how we vote this year. Particularly, please make sure that when you do vote on November 8th or before, no matter, please understand that I said when you vote, not if. When you vote, please make sure that you have your voter ID with you. You do need a form of identification for that. There is also early voting the week before or the weekend before that, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, before the November 8th election. You are able to go to the McCracken County Courthouse and cast your vote there. We are also encouraging everybody, please check your voter precinct because those things have changed. We've kind of been through a pandemic. I know some of you we haven't seen in a couple of years. So make sure you go to govoteky.com and check your polling precinct, or you can find out that information at the county clerk's office. Particularly for candidates, we want to make sure that we invite you to our Freedom Fund banquet, which will be held on Sunday, November 6th. It will not be a forum. You are invited to come. Please see our website, PaducahNAACP.com, to purchase tickets for that. Candidates will be allowed to bring small items for display if you are in attendance. And by small, I mean something like this size. This is not an endorsement for Hayden. We do not endorse anybody's candidates. We are grateful that he's running, but this is not an endorsement. Just an example. Just pointing that out. But small items are welcome, but please keep large items like poster boards and things like that at home. But you are welcome to attend the Freedom Fund banquet for that. We also know that candidates have materials that are outside in the lobby that you are able to get. Please stop by that table and see that if you would like materials for your desired candidate. Also, we left a sample ballot out there as well. So grateful that all of the candidates were here tonight. But there are also a couple of amendments that are on the ballot this year. So we left an explanation for those amendments out on the table with the candidates on there. So we understand that everybody does not speak legalese and everybody does not speak legislative jargon. So we tried to simplify it a little bit so that people have a more informed decision as to what they want to vote concerning the amendments that are on the ballot. But with that, I strongly, strongly urge everybody, get out and vote. Encourage everybody else to vote. We thank you all for coming here tonight. Encourage somebody else to vote. And we will see you on November 6th at the Freedom Fund Banquet and November 8th for election. Thank you guys, and have a blessed night.